Brothers and sisters, the Imam asked me some weeks ago to give the khutbah. I agreed to it. And this is a constant pattern. Of course, it's always an honor and a privilege. But I've never felt so speechless when it's time to give a speech. So, inshallah, what I'm going to do is share with you all some words from our beloved Messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think it'll be a good reminder for us in terms of where we're at and where we're looking to go for ourselves individually as well as collectively. Precisely in the 10th year of the Hijrah, when the Muslims moved from Mecca to Medina, in that year, the Muslims made pilgrimage, made the Hajj. And the Prophet ﷺ gave a speech, which is known as his last sermon, on that occasion, which is a good kind of an outline and a summary. He began that speech with a pronouncement that I don't know if I'm going to be here next year. And so in that very famous speech which has been passed down to us, it kind of summarizes his instructions and designs for his ummah. Inshallah. So we'll look at that and reflect on that today as we are answering Allah's call. We come here today to remember Allah and to remind ourselves of our duty and our responsibilities. I was also sharing with my wife recently, I just read about 5 days ago, there was an article in the Atlantic. And in that article, I can't think of the title right now, but in the article, what was interesting to me is that it interviewed a lot of Muslims who were under the age of 40. And it talked about the different ways that they were struggling or seeking to find, how do I navigate these dual identities of being Muslim, being American, and other identities that they might have as well on top of those that they've accepted for themselves. And how some of, we have the range and we can see it in our younger group from being not religious at all, not interested in religion at all, to very super religious in that realm. And I feel like it's one of our main challenges and goals as believers today is to determine and realize, how do we live Islam in the 21st century in America? Islam is spread all over the globe. And at every place that it's gone to, it's found a way to fit and filter and upgrade the culture and society in which it was implanted, from West China to West Africa to even Spain. The difference I see today is that Islam now is going into parts of the world where it is not the dominant political power. Muslims have a little bit of very little or maybe not any political power in much of the Western world in America today. And so how do we live out and follow Islam in a context where we are not running things in this society, in a context where the dominant culture is not only not Muslim, but is largely ignorant or misinformed or fed propaganda, which is very negative against Islam? How do we navigate that? How do we live our lives as Muslims? How are we going to make it easier for the younger Muslims who are coming up and are wrestling with these issues constantly? Should I wear hijab or not? Do I need to eat sabila or not? How serious is praying 5 times a day anyway? Do I really need to go to the Masjid? Am I religious or am I spiritual? What's the difference? These types of issues. And so, in the midst of this kind of confusion, I think it's good for us to go back and look at the source, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he said. And understand, as we're looking at it, that we're trying to recreate in this context something that's timeless. And so in his teachings, we should understand that the Islam that we practice today is not going to be identical to the Islam in 7th century Arabia. The form is not going to be the same. The covering is not going to be the same. We don't ride on camels, most of us. But the essence of that message is timeless. And so that's what we need to get at and see. And remember, Allah told us, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. We have in our messenger, we have a beautiful example. And so here's the sermon. So we'll look at it. Translated. He said to them, O people, listen well to my words. I do not know whether after this year I shall be among you again. Therefore, listen to what I'm saying to you very carefully, and take these words to those who cannot be present here today. Alhamdulillah. O people, just as you regard this month, this day, this city as sacred, so too regard the life and property of every Muslim as a sacred trust. Return the goods entrusted to you to their rightful owners. Treat others justly, so that no one will be unjust to you. Remember that you will indeed meet your Lord, and that he will indeed reckon your deeds. God has forbidden you to take usury. Therefore, all usury obligations shall henceforth be waived. Your capital, however, is yours to keep. You will neither inflict nor suffer inequity. God has judged that there shall be no riba, usury, and that all the usury that was due to Abbas ibn Abdul-Muttalib shall henceforth be waived. Every right arising out of homicide and blood killing in pre-Islamic days is henceforth waived, and the first such right that I waive is that arising from the murder of Rabi'a ibn al-Harith ibn Abdul-Muttalib. So we see here the Prophet is extending the expectations on actions to financial behavior, talking about no usury, as well as we see here an emphasis on regarding the lives as sacred. We know in the pre-Islamic days that there was a tradition of a life for a life, etc. The Prophet ﷺ was regarding all these Muslims saying, look, that was before we became Muslim. Now we're all Muslim, like all those old beasts in vengeance and revenge. Let's squash that, and I'll be the first to squash that. He continued, O people, the unbelievers indulge in tampering with the calendar in order to make permissible that which God forbade, and to forbid that which God has made permissible. With God, the months are 12 in number. 4 of them are sacred, 3 of these are successive, and 1 occurs singly between the months of Jumah and Sha'ban. Beware of the devil for the safety of your religion. He has lost all hope that he will ever be able to lead you astray in big things. So beware of following him in the small things. And we see this in other hadith narrated by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that the shaitan is giving up on trying to get us to worship gods other than Allah. But the idea of taking us away from Allah is still strong and central to this point. And so indirectly he can get us to move further and further away from Allah by convincing us to move further and further away from this deen of ours. Prophet ﷺ continued, O people, it is true that you have certain rights over your women, but they also have rights over you. Remember that you have taken them as your wives only under God's trust and with his permission. If they abide by your right, then to them belong the rights to be fed and clothed in kindness. Treat your women well and be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers. It is your right that they do not make friends with anyone of whom you do not approve, as well as never to be unchaste. O people, listen to me in earnest Worship God. Perform your 5 daily prayers. Fast during the month of Ramadan. And give your financial obligation, your zakat, of your wealth. And perform the Hajj if you are able to. All mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over black, nor does a black person have any superiority over a white person, except by piety and good action. Learn that every Muslim is a brother to every Muslim, and that the Muslims constitute one brotherhood. Nothing shall be legitimate to a Muslim which belongs to a fellow Muslim unless it was given freely and willingly. Do not therefore do injustice to yourselves. Tremendous injustice and suffering and pain and corruption in the last 14 centuries because this message was not adhered to by Muslims as well as non-Muslims. Understanding that we are an extended family with the same parents, Adam and Eve. And understanding that the differences that we find as major and significant are completely insignificant to our Creator. Completely. Where you're from, your family, your lineage. What is your taqwa like? What are your actions like? That's it. Remember, one day you will appear before God. You will answer for your deeds. Go ahead and move forward, brothers. Remember one day that you will appear before God and you will answer for your deeds. So beware. Do not stray from the path after I am gone. O people, no prophet or messenger will come after me, and no new faith will be born. Reason well, therefore, O people, and understand words which I convey to you. I am leaving you with the book of God and my sunnah. If you follow them, you will never go astray. The book, the kitab, and Allah talks about in the book how He left the book in the kitab with hikmah. Hikmah we know is wisdom. One of my teachers informed us that the hikmah is the sunnah. Wisdom is the sunnah. Wisdom being different from knowledge in that the wisdom is about understanding how to apply that knowledge. Understanding, that there is a time and there's a place for certain actions to be in effect. And there's a time and a place for them not to be. When we break down the Prophet ﷺ's life, you'll see that his attitudes and actions and instructions in Mecca, for example, were very different from that in Medina. That's hikmah. That's understanding what your context is. Understanding your surroundings, understanding what your condition, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and acting according to that. Also, on that same note, it's also been described as the Quran for us is our text, and the Sunnah is our context. The Quran is the text, the Sunnah is the context. So if you're reading the Quran without any context, you're likely not going to apply it correctly. So our context is to study this man, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, study his character, study his life, look closely at his decisions that he made, and pay also very close attention to the world that he lived in and how that impacted the decisions that he made. And that will help inform us. We live in a very different world. that will help inform us what decisions, as we seek wisdom in applying the Book of Allah to our current situation. He concluded, he said, all those who listen to me that shall pass on my words to others, and those to others again, and may the last ones understand my words better than those who listen to me directly. Be my witness, O God, that I have conveyed your message to your people. May the last ones understand better than those who listen to me directly. I'm pretty sure that when it comes to understanding this deen collectively as an ummah, we have an intellectual understanding that goes beyond the first group of Muslims who heard this message. That was the dua of the Prophet that would happen, so that shouldn't be a shock that that's the case. But they have something that we don't have. They have a faith far superior that came out in their actions, which is why they're the best ummah to ever rise from mankind. Enjoining what is good, forbidding what is evil, etc. So the challenge is for us today, Islam, we don't give any credit for what you understand. We live in a age of information and information overload sometimes. So to have access to what's in the Quran, to have access to all different types of tafsir is not a problem if you can get on the internet. It's not a problem if you can get a teacher. But ultimately, when we stand in front of God, it's not going to be a paper test that we're taking. It's not going to be a multiple choice test that we're taking. It's going to be an evaluation of where's our heart and where were our actions. And so let's keep that central as we navigate for ourselves how to be the followers in the Ummah of Muhammad in the 21st century in America. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So Allah said in Baqarah, He called to the angels, Ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. He's making in the earth a Khalifa. Who's He talking about? Adam. That's it. He's talking about all of us. It's our responsibility, it's our destiny, it's our purpose to be a Khalifa. Meaning, what? We're God's representatives. Meaning, the Khalifa is a moral being. It's what distinguishes us. We have knowledge of what's good and what's bad, and we freely choose to do what's good and what's right. That's the Khalifa. That's our responsibility as Muslims here. And it's our collective, as well as our individual responsibility to recreate that character of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam within our context and show what does a Khalifa look like now today. The Khalifa is not one, as God's representative, that is meant to be downtrodden and beaten and obscure and irrelevant in the society. But rather, the Khalifa is the leader. Where we go, we have to be the leaders. It doesn't mean that we're looking to take over everything today, tomorrow, right away. It means that within your context, you look to be a leader. Take charge and leadership of yourself, your life, instead of letting things happen. Leaders plan things and have a goal and have an action plan and use accountability to make things happen. Do that for yourself. Then that spreads out to your family, that spreads out to your household, that spreads out to wherever you are. If you're at work and you're spending 40, 60 hours a week at work, then you need to be a leadership in that context. Even if you just started, even if you're on the fries, your work ethic is a way that you can lead by example. The Prophet Muhammad said that whenever a Muslim endeavors to do a thing, he seeks to perfect it and to do it with excellence. That in and of itself moves you up to leadership. Many of us have discovered in any organization, when you do things well, you get noticed. You usually get asked to do more stuff, which is another way of opening up doors of leadership. And so our responsibility as khulafa, as the representatives of God, is to move forward within ourselves, but also to move forward within the society, and ultimately to move the society forward. That was the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's look to create that for ourselves today. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Oh Allah, we ask you to give us increase in faith and enrich us in our faith. Oh Allah, we ask that you enrich us in our knowledge. Oh Allah, we ask that you enrich us in our wisdom. Oh Allah, we ask that you enrich us in our wealth. Oh Allah, we ask that you enrich us in our giving and our charity. Oh Allah, we ask that you examine all of our faults, shortcomings, our mistakes, our sins, and you cover them up and you forgive us for them. You are the best of forgivers. You love to forgive, so forgive us. Oh Allah, we ask that you send your peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad. We ask that you send blessings on his family. We ask that you send blessings on his followers all together. Ameen. Ameen.